I'm going to talk today about 3 recurring problems that I observe and think that we really need to improve our operations and eliminate them. It's very important right now when the atmosphere is heating up. So there is more campaigns, there are more problems to deal with. All the teams are working very hard, and obviously even small problems are making the processes quite slow. So first of all, I would like to speak of projects involving more than one department. So you may have heard a name for it. It's like a silos. So silos exist when people in different departments or different parts in the organization do not talk to each other or share information enough. And I basically think that we really suffer a lot recently because of that. That's obviously a problem of growing organizations. Way easier to manage this when the company is like 20 people. And with each person coming, it's more and more difficult. And right now I see that it's really growing in importance. So a good example of what is happening when there is a silos, when there are different departments involved, is that nobody is taking responsibility. And I would like to give an example of this. Recently, we've been doing a remake of our website, of our career website, and it was a specific task because it involved 4 different departments, like the product department, because obviously it's a product thing to make the mockups, the dev department, because someone needs to code the website, the HR department, because in the end, it's the department who will benefit out of the website, and also, yeah, I think it is. I mixed the slide a little bit, so I'm sorry for that. Marketing. I always do it. Yeah, marketing team, obviously, because in the end, marketing is responsible for the entire website. So a quick win here would be a solution we know very well, and it's absolutely the easiest one, but we often forget about it. So we have repeatedly said that each task must have its own directly responsible individual, so DRE, because we know that that there is a person who takes responsibility, who makes things happen, even if there are different departments involved, even if those departments have problems with the communication, because maybe they don't work with each other so much, the DRE would be a person who would facilitate the entire process. So it's very simple to name the DRE when the project, the task involves a single department, and it gets way more difficult when it involves multiple departments. So this is the case with the website, and in the end, nobody is taking responsibility where projects involve more than one department. Yeah, this is something I mentioned, but basically what I see that usually when multiple departments are involved, there are problems. We are quite quick in organizing our work about tasks where only a single department is involved, and have difficulties where there are multiple departments. So in the case of the website, of the career page, the situation was that really nobody wanted to take the responsibility, like to say, hey, who is the DRE, or I'm going to be the DRI, and then we stand still and think simply, don't go quick, like they go very, very slow. So my advice is that anytime you see a situation when you feel like, hey, multiple departments involved, okay, I don't feel like it's my part of the job to coordinate it. If you feel like it's not your part of the job to coordinate it, definitely your part of the job as a person involved in the task would be to take the initiative to find a directly responsible individual that will coordinate the whole. So it's very simple. Just ask a question, who is a DRI, before you make any action. So in the case of the website, the career page, the role of their eye would be similar to that of a project manager. So that their eye will have to create a schedule and oversee it. And basically, it's extremely difficult to run any complex project without a project manager. So not always the DRI is a project manager, but if you are one, you probably should do the project management job until you find another project manager, because this may happen as well. So in such a situation, in the career page situation, the easiest way is to assume that the RI should be the stakeholder, the one who has an interest in the creation of the site. So someone from the HR department, probably. But very important, if you see a silos task involving more than one department, don't ask a question whether I am a DRI. It's not important. The most important question you should ask is, who is the DRI? So who is the person that will coordinate the project? Because without the person, things will go very, very slowly or will die in the end. So my request here is always double check whether the DRI is chosen at the beginning of the process. Do not start without clearly understanding who is the DRI. And if there is a DRI already, so for example, it's you, please start with making a short agenda, a short schedule, even if it's like a simple task. The best way to start, to kick off, would be telling all the people involved, hey, this is the game plan, this is what's gonna happen. And yeah, please take care about this, pay attention to this, because I can see multiple silos tasks when we have problems with taking responsibility and moving forward, because it works like this, that people are coming, everybody is sharing their opinion, saying, hey, I think this, and I think this, and it takes us nowhere, because there's nobody really pushing the task as the project manager. So the second thing I want to speak up about today is, as you know, I am a big opponent of calls. So you have probably heard many times that the calls should be avoided whenever possible, because they hinder asynchronic work. And one of the greatest things about the company is that we are able to work asynchronously. But I believe that this approach, that my approach, is the root of a significant problem we face right now. So it's kind of similar to a problem I mentioned before. So there's no DRI and people are just exchanging thoughts and we are not moving forward. And I also observe very long ClickUp discussions in which we find it difficult to come to an agreement or simply to move on. So I want you to use your common sense. I know I've been saying multiple times to avoid calls that are unnecessary, but the question is, what is an unnecessary call? So I'm a little bit afraid that what I've been speaking previously may give you a feeling that it's better not to make a call even if you feel like one is necessary. So please use your common sense. It's simply often easier to agree on certain things on a few minutes call and write down the findings on ClickUp. So if you feel like you are standing still in a task, that you don't understand each other, simply offer a call. Ask the person or a team if they think this could be a nice idea to hop on a call to discuss quickly. And obviously, there's no hard rule as to when such a call is needed. My personal advice would be, if a discussion has more than 10 comments already and you are not getting closer, it is probably a good idea to organize such a call. It often happens that a call is the most effective way to quickly establish something, to understand something, to see this case from a different perspective, from someone else's perspective. So please don't be afraid of doing this. And just remember that always after the call, try to get back to ClickUp and summarize things. Just go back to ClickUp and summarize things, because it may happen that the task involves like 10 people and it's not the best idea to make a call with 10 people. The best idea would be to arrange a call with those people who are directly involved, directly responsible, and later update on the ClickUp task the things you have decided. And the last thing, also, well, strictly connected with the two previous things, is the flow of information. So this is really a huge problem right now, and I can see it clearly. And I don't think there is a single and a simple answer for that, but we definitely need to be aware of this and try to make everything possible to improve our flow of information. So the problem with the flow of information is, in fact, a problem of silos tasks as well. So I can see that there is often a lack of coordination of the activities of various teams of the same topic. And recently, I've noticed a very serious issue, or maybe not a serious, but a very good example of such a situation. It turned out that the marketing team was working on the implementation of Google Analytics 4 at the same time as the product team was working on it. And unfortunately, the teams did not know about it and did not coordinate their activities. And it's just a single case from last week, but obviously such situations used to happen before. So once again, there is no golden rule how to avoid such situations. So the more tasks there are, the more difficult it will be. So the case here is to understand that someone else in the company may be doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. And that may be fine because, look, Google Analytics is both about the product team and about the marketing team and probably about other teams. But the problem here is to understand that there are other stakeholders of these tasks and to coordinate. So first of all, the solution here would be the simplest and probably the most boring. So once again, this is reading the weekly reports. And I think this is crucial because this way you can find out what other teams are doing. And I know it's boring to spend like an hour or two reading the weekly reports on Tuesday, but I will speak in many times why it's essential. And once again, that's the best way to understand what other teams are working on and how the things are connected together. Besides, if you start a new project, especially if it's time consuming, let's say it would take more than a day or two, make sure someone is not working on it. And the best way to do it may be simply a question on Google Chat. You can simply ask on inStreamly all chat, hey, is someone already working on Google Analytics because we're gonna work on it? Is someone already working on, I don't know, implementing this solution because I want to do it next week? And this way you can really find out whether someone is already working on this. Yeah, in case of Google Analytics, a good solution would be to ask yourself what areas are covered by this project, which departments are responsible for the areas. Probably both the marketing team and the product team would come to similar conclusions and would get in touch if the question would be asked. Okay, so these are the three things. I don't really think that we can address them at once, that we can solve these problems, because this is kind of a problem that can be solved. You can only take actions to improve it. You can only take action to make it less important, less crucial, or less critical. So first of all, it's very, very simple. We've been talking about this since like 2 years, but choose the DRI ASAP. If you are in a task and you see that no one is really taking responsibility, ask the question, who is the directly responsible individual? And remember that if you are the DRI, you are probably the project manager, and you are responsible for creating the agenda and for doing all the follow-ups and to making sure that things move forward. The second thing I want you to remember is that sometimes it's good to offer a call. I really think that we are biased toward asynchronous communication. I am not afraid that now we'll be wasting endless hours on calls. I'm pretty sure that if we add a little bit of calls to our daily routine, that could be a nice idea, especially if you feel you are stuck in a task. If you feel like you don't understand each other, you have different point of views, it could be a nice idea to catch up for like 5 minutes on a call. And in the end, think of who is affected by the task when you are doing something in your department. In a company like ours, things we are doing are very much connected with each other, and understanding how they are connected is crucial. So ask question, who is affected by the task? Who else may be working on this? And then obviously get in touch and coordinate. So this is it from my side. These are the 3 problems I recently see more often than before. I believe that in 4th quarter that will be very tense, very difficult as well in terms of the amount of work we'll have. These problems will be really crucial, and we should be very much aware of them. Okay, so this is it from my side. Do you have any questions or comments on this?
I have one pro tip, if you don't mind. Something what really helped us a lot during last Streamly project in the problem that you were was to create a general doc, Google Doc, gathering current status about the project, because ClickUp is not a good tool if there are many comments, people involved, many notifications. So sometimes it's when we need to make sure people are on the same page, we create a Google Doc that always gather the current knowledge. So let's say if we invite a new person to help us in some task, they don't have to scroll through the entire task or see if the main description is updated, but we just send them the doc. I will send you on the chat example from Vitality and 1 month debugging of the dashboard.
Maybe in the end, I want to add something, because there are all the rules and good practices one can mention, and then organization can implement various solutions. In the end, one thing is absolutely crucial. So don't feel like you are not responsible for the problem. Feel like you are responsible for the problem until you find that someone else says, no, I'm the dairy, I'm taking care of it. And I've seen it recently multiple times that people were saying, like, maybe not directly, we've been saying like, hey, it's not my part of the job, it's not my department who's responsible. And if in a silos task everyone says it, then we are stuck. So even if you feel like, hey, for sure it's not my job, so at least assume that your job is to make sure that someone feels like it's his job. In the end, the DRI conception is about this. So making sure there is a directly responsible individual. So it's very simple, but the more things happen in the company, the more difficult it is to organize each task in a good way. And the best way to start with in each task is making sure that someone deeply feels that he's responsible for delivering this as quickly as possible.